Okay class, now I'm going to discuss with you the tutorial in week 3. So you are required to complete a few questions. So the first one is question 3a. Okay, question 3a. So this is the questions where you have a function z equal to 3 minus 2x minus 6y. So as you can observe the variable here, since these variables, the powers of the variables are 1, so this one basically represent a plane. So you have to try to transform your function to be in this format. Okay, so in order to get this format, you have to you have to remain the 3 at the right side, and for the x and y you have to move them to the left hand side, just like this. So in order to make it to be 1, so the 3 you divide by 3, and you cannot divide only one side, you have to divide both sides. So this is the answer that you will get. So this function is quite similar to the format that we want. However, if you observe here should be 1, okay, no variable. So we have to rewrite our function to be in this format. Okay, so when we compare this final function with this format, we found that our a is equals to 3 over 2, b will be 1 over 2, and c will be 3. Okay, so c is related to the axis z, b is related to the axis y, and a is related to the axis x. So you just plot these 3 points, and then you use a straight line to link them together. So this one will be your plan. Okay, so this one is for question 3a, and next one will be question 3b. So this question already mentioned that this function is a plan. Okay, this function is actually a plan. As you can observe, like I mentioned just now, there is no power 2 or power 3. It is only power 1. So, and if you observe again, we found that there is no parameter y. So for this kind of function, we simplify it as what we have done in the question 3a. So we divide 4 at the right side and also left side. So our function will become something like this. So if we rewrite, okay, this one, okay, we will get this thing. Okay, so the z will be equals to 4, and the the c will be equals to 4, and the a will be equals to 2, and there is no b. So for such plane, you just mark down your c on the z axis and also your a on the x axis. So the other, you just extend it. Okay, you just extend this similar line. For example, like this, you extend the similar line in the directions of y-axis. Okay, so when you combine this array of lines together, you will get a plane, something like this. Okay, so this is for the plane, question 3b. Next, we move to question 3e. This one is supposedly to be 3e. It is a cylinder. So normally, the function of a cylinder will be a function similar like the function of a circle. Okay, circle. So this is the function for the circle. Okay, this is the function of the circle. Okay, these circles its origin has its center at the origin 0, 0, and radius a. So in order to transform this cylinder function to be equivalent to this function, we have to rewrite the function to become like this. Okay, we rewrite because we need to factorize it. Okay, we need to perform the factorizations here. So we have to choose the correct value to be on the left side. Okay, we cannot simply choose, otherwise the factorization will not be successful. So here I choose the 1. So when this part is 1, this one have to change to 9. Why? Because when you move your 1 to here, 9 minus 1, you will get 8. So you will get the same equation again. Okay, you cannot simply put any value. So this one will be a format, okay, or a function for a circle, but this function is special a bit, as you can compare with the original function of circle. For the y, you have the plus 1. So as I mentioned in the class, when you have a plus 1, it means that you need to move your y in the negative 1 unit direction. So the center of the circle will be at 0, 1 here. Okay, 0, 1. So if you draw it in 2D, 0, 1 is here. 0 is here, 0, negative 1 is here. So this one will be the center of your circle. Okay, so and your circle will have a radius of 3. Okay, if you compare to the format of the circle. So you just draw a circles here, and then you can extend the height of the cylinder. Okay, the height of the cylinder can be any value, as long as the whole structure at the end it is a cylinder. And then next we move on to the hedge. So this is the function for hedge. So for this kind of function, you must define the range first. Okay, range is very important. So you should start thinking and analyze whether it is possible for this function to have negative value. Okay, since you have a negative here, so this one you can have a negative value, 0 value, but it is impossible for you to get a positive value. Okay, so your z is typically less than 0. Okay, after that you have to think about whether this z has a minimum value. Okay, this is especially important. We will find that there is for this root function there is number inside this root function 9. So when the whole thing x squared plus y squared equals to 0, okay, so this thing will left square root 9, negative square root 9, so you will get negative 3 here. So this one is only up to negative 3. Okay, so it is ranging from negative 3 to 0. So when you assume the value for the z, you can only assume the value in between the range that you have defined. You cannot assume it to be 4, you cannot assume it to be negative 6, or they will be wrong. Okay, they will give you a wrong function when you want to further the drawing. Okay, if it is 3, you put negative 3. Okay, you replace your z with negative 3, so the whole thing will remain. Okay, you cancel the negative. After that, if you want to get rid of the square root, you have to square this side. Okay, you have to square it, and then the 3 you have to square, then only you become 9. 9 and 9, you can become 0. So only left this thing. The negative here, after this part has become 0, when you minus with negative, the negative will be gone. So this is the final function you get. So this is the function for circles, center at 0, 0 with radius 0. So you just plot like this. Okay, next is when the z equals to negative 1. Similar procedure, you cancel the negative, and then you get rid of the square root, and then you moving here, moving there, and finally you get your radius equals to square root 8. Okay, so this one is your center. The radius is square root 8. And same also on the 0. So 0, you will get a radius equals to 3. So you get another circles. So when you combine the circles and also point that you have got based on different value of z, you will get your contour block, something like this. So this is when your z equals to 0, you get this circle. This is when your z equals to negative 1, and this is when your z equals to negative 3. So you can further label. Okay, you label your circle. For example, this is z0, so this one will be 3. You can label it 3, negative 3. Okay, you can also label for the second circle square root 8. Okay, square root 8. Try to put as much information as possible in your drawing. So this is the contour plot. Okay, and after that, when you combine your contour plot in 3D graph, okay, this is when the z equals to 0, z negative 1, and then z equals to negative 3. Sorry, this one should be negative 3. So when you found that the value here 3, and also the point at the end is also 3. Okay, this is negative 3, right? But the magnitude is still 3. So you can consider this one as a lower hemisphere. It is not paraboloid because the magnitude here 3, 3, and 3, they are the same. So it is lower hemisphere. Okay. So next will be 3L. So this is your function. So for this function, first step is you must define the range. Okay, It can be a negative value when you 4 minus something bigger than 4. It can be 0 also, and it can be a positive value. Next, we have to analyze whether it has limit or not. Okay, 4 minus something, so no matter how, the z value will be always less than or equals to 4. So this one will be your range. Okay, so you can assume any value as long as it is less than or equals to 4. So when I assume 4, okay, so I'll get this point. You see, again, it is a function for circle, so you must be very familiar with this kind of function. Okay, next, when my z is 0, so I cancel and then I square it out of 2 parts, then I will get another circles with radius radius 4. When the z is negative 2, I will get another circle with radius 6, and then I combine them. Okay, you have to label all those things that you know. Okay, their level z0 or z negative 2 or 4, whatever. After that, you combine them. Okay, you combine them. So in order to identify whether this is a straight line or a curve, so you should take the original function. So this is the original function, and you assume whether x or y is 0. So in this case, I assume my x to be 0. So when my x is 0, okay, this one will become y squared, and you have a square root, so this one will become a y. Okay, there is no power here, no power 2, no power 3, but it is power 1. So it is a straight line. So this one, from here until here, it is connected by a straight line. Okay, and for all question 3or, okay, same case like the previous one, question 3e, you have to do factorization at this part, okay, in order to get an equations for circle. So after you have done this part, you have to define the range. Okay, it is power 2, so impossible for you to get negative value, but it is possible for you to get 0 and also positive value. So your range for this function will be greater than 0. So you assume it to be 0, you get your center. So this equation is spatial a bit, okay, because you have this one. Okay, so it means that now the center is at 0, positive 2. Okay, 0, positive 2, and your radius is 0. So this one will be a center of your circle. Next, you move on to when the z is equals to 4. Same procedure, but now the radius of your circles has been increased to 2. Okay, so you draw another circles. See, the center is still 0, 2. Next is when the z is 9. Center will always be the same. Okay, the center of the circle, but the radius will change according to the value of z that you define. So you get another circle, and then you combine them, label them, and then you construct them in 3D. Okay, so again, assume your x to be 0 or y to be 0. Okay, if you found that there is a power, things like that, so you have to define that the line, okay, connecting the level curve, it will be a curve. Okay, this one is actually a curve. Okay, so the structure that you are drawing is actually a paraboloid. Okay, paraboloid here. So next one is 4b. So in this question 4b, in the module, they didn't ask you to draw the level curve or contour plot, but in the tutorial I asked you to do so. So first step still the same, define the range. Okay, square root will give you a positive value. When the positive value add with another positive value, you can only get a value that is bigger than an 8. Okay, you cannot get 0, you cannot get negative value. So you start, assume your z value start from the 8, and then you get a point here, and then 10, you get another point. Okay, 40, another point. You can assume any value for your z as long as it fulfill the criteria listed in the range. Okay, so contour plot is when you combine all the level curve together. Okay, when the height is 14, 10, and also 8. After that, you combine all of them. Okay, this is z8, so there is nothing here because the z is 8. Okay, so now I assume my x to be 0. Okay, now I get y. Y is no power, so it is a straight line. Okay, so for C, same procedure. Assume your range. Okay, positive value add with positive value will be a positive value, add with another positive value. So it is not possible to have negative, not possible to have 0. So the minimum value for your range will be greater than or equals to square root 8. So you put your square root 8 inside here, square root 8 here. Okay, this thing will remain. So you get an equations. Again, it's a circles equation with radius of 0. And when you replace with square root 10, there is another radius. Okay, look here. Okay, square root 10 minus square root 8, you have to take note, you have to use your calculator to get this one. The answer is not square root 2, okay, remember. So the radius is 0.58. So it can be actually any value. Don't worry, even though you have got value which has titik perpuluhan, but you no need to worry. You just do it like usual. So the radius for this circle will be 0.58. Okay, and then a contour block. So for this question, I only construct 2 level curve. When you already used to the steps how to construct the level curve, okay, you can do it very quickly. Normally, you just do a few assumptions, 2 assumptions. It will be enough for you to imagine what types of 3D graph that you are going to draw. So for this one, it is a paraboloid because when you assume your y to be 0, it is a curve. So again, I repeat, it is okay whether you assume your x to be 0 or your y to be 0. Okay, it is just to indicate whether it is a curve or it is a straight line. Okay, next, move on to the last question of this tutorial. Question 6. Okay, domain and range. So look at this one. So for this function, it falls in the category of root functions. So if according to the restriction, whatever inside the root function must be greater than or equals to 0. However, when you examine all the parameters in the root function, you found that this part is power 2. This part is also power 2, and this is a number. So all of them, they are actually a positive value, a positive number. So when they are added together, it is impossible for you to get a value which is less than 0. So actually, this criteria, you no need to mention it in your domain. So your domain can be written just in this way. You no need to specify this one. Okay. As for your range, you need to think about it again. Okay, range. Let's look at it. Okay, after you perform the root functions, okay, your value will be greater than or equals to 0. However, when you examine this function, the minimum value here is 1. So it means no matter how, okay, your value will be greater than 1. Can it be 1? Yes, it can be 1. Sorry, I missed out this thing. So it can be 1. Okay, so you assume the f to be 1. You get equation for circles, but this circle has center located at 1, 0, coordinate 1, 0. So you put a point here. After that, you assume your f to be 3. Then you perform the calculation again. Okay, so this route, your radius will be square root 7. Center will be at 1, 0. And last one, if you don't want value, you want to have a square value so that it will be easier for you to do the calculation. It can also be. So if I assume square root 17, okay, after I minus the 1, I will become 16. So my radius will be a number 4. Okay, so you draw circles and then you combine them, the contour block, and then you plot the structure. Okay, you plot the structure. So this one will be a curve. Okay, because based on this one, this calculation, we found that there is a power 2 here. So this one will be a curve. Okay, so this is all about your tutorial in week 3. You can find the hard copy of this solution in the tutorial folder. Okay, thank you very much, class.